When everything seems under control, that's when chaos moves silently. At a police station in the heart of the state, where 280 law enforcement officers take turns fighting crime every day, no one imagined that the greatest enemy would come from within. In the shadows of a slum, forgotten by the state, two common criminals, no name in the newspapers, no reputation in drug trafficking, began to plan the biggest attack on the police ever recorded in the country. The plan was simple on paper. Enter at dawn with silence and precision, steal the base's arsenal, and disappear into the wind before sunrise. But the execution would be another story. What they didn't know, what no one knew, was that on that very night, the BOPE elite troop would be sleeping at the base, waiting for dawn to change their weapons. Result: what was supposed to be a quick robbery turned into urban warfare. And now you will join us in this story. So subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and hold on tight. Here you will smell the gunpowder, hear footsteps in the darkness, and experience what only those on the front know. Because what comes next, it's not fiction, it's raw reality. Let's get into the mission. To face 280 armed men, you first have to think like a rat. Get in without anyone seeing you, and get out with chaos in your wake. On the warm roof of a house in the Valle Seco community, Julio Carapreta and Renan Cotovello were no more than rank-and-file soldiers, but they had something that many leaders of the favela have lost: a thirst for greatness and a hatred for the police. Carapreta, a former soldier expelled for stealing ammunition. Cotovello, the son of a drug dealer killed in a shootout with the police. Both had scars on their bodies and one idea in their minds: to rob the weapons center at the Special Forces base of the police, located on the border between the suburbs and the North Zone. And it wasn't just any base. Inside there were hundreds of rifles, grenades, vests, and war ammunition that was gold for drug trafficking. We'll go in when the guys are asleep, without shooting, without raising dust. And with one of them helping, said Elbow. But who? Who inside the base is going to risk everything? Blackface replied. And that was when the most cruel part of the plan was born: kidnapping someone important, a police officer from inside the base. A new soldier, recently transferred, named Soldier Maya. A good guy, family, respected, but with a weakness: his 9-year-old niece who lived with him. After 2 days of surveillance, they already knew the girl's route to school, the time of the van, the name of the teacher, and on a rainy Wednesday afternoon, she disappeared. Taken by a cloned car, wrapped in a black cloth, taken to the raw cement warehouse in the middle of the favela. In a clandestine call, they made contact. Either you open the base gate at 3:22 in the morning, or the girl will go to the ditch. Carapreta's voice was cold. On the other side, despair took over Soldier Maya. You guys are crazy. This isn't going to work. I'm going to get killed. You're going to die anyway. But the difference is that if you help, your niece will live. Choose her life or your uniform. With the threat stuck in her chest, Maya went to work that night with her stomach in knots. She knew she was going to commit a betrayal. She knew she would never sleep in peace again. But I didn't know that BOPE would be inside. In war, it is not the first shot that defines everything. It is the silence before it. At the Special Forces base, the digital clock in the guardhouse read 3:21 a.m. The early morning shift was the quietest, or at least it used to be. Soldiers spread out across the barracks, some watching videos on their cell phones, others sleeping with their rifles at the head of their beds. The air conditioning made a soft, almost hypnotic hum. Outside, Soldier Maya was standing at the side gate, sweating cold. Despite the freezing weather, inside his pocket was a photo of his niece, smiling in the playground, a cruel reminder of what he had to lose. 30 seconds, Maya, he whispered to himself. On the other side of the gate, 2 figures approached in the darkness of dawn, hooded, wearing black construction clothing, and taking firm steps. Blackface was in front, headphones on, listening to instructions from Elbow, who was following everything from the warehouse, with the girl tied up next to him, moaning under a cloth over her mouth. "Go ahead, "Open it," said Blackface without emotion. Maya typed the code into the electronic lock. The side gate slid open with a sharp click. The two criminals entered like shadows, without a shot, without a fuss, invisible among the containers and the concrete corridors. In the weapons wing, there were 3 levels of security: biometrics, coded card, and numeric password. But Cara Preta had done his homework. Maya was the card. They only needed 4 minutes. "Go straight ahead. Take whatever you can. Don't open everything. Hurry up," Elbow warned over the radio. What no one knew, not the criminals, not Maya, was that in the back of the base, in the dark quarters, Sub-Lieutenant Ramiro of BOPE was awake. He never really slept during operations, and he noticed something strange, a shadow passing by the window of the weapons room. "Who's there?" he murmured into the team's internal radio. Silence. "What the hell is that?" Ramiro got up, put his vest over his shirt and walked barefoot into the hallway, rifle in hand. Inside the weapons room, Blackface began stacking rifles into black bags. He grabbed grenades, magazines, a rocket launcher. But then he made a mistake. He bumped into a shelf that knocked a metal box to the floor. The sound echoed as if hell itself had knocked on the door of heaven. Ramiro heard. He woke up 3 operators and called on the radio. "Alert! Possible internal invasion. Wake up everyone. Repeat, wake up everyone." "Fuck," said Blackface. "Go on. Take what you can," Elbow shouted into the phone. But it was too late. The alarm went off internally. Lights came on, internal sirens flashed red, and the sound of steel against steel mixed with the slamming of boots and the cocking of rifles. In less than 2 minutes, 20 BOPE men were awake, armed and descending in a line to the weapons room area. As he left the room, Cara Preta looked at Soldier Maya and said, "You come with us, or you will die with them." Maya hesitated. I just want my niece alive." "Then run!" The siren was already constant. In the monitoring room, Sergeant Denise looked at the cameras in panic. "There are 2 invaders in the weapons room, and one of ours is with them. It's Maya, screams, warning shots. And the BOPE troops were already moving like predators. The radio was burning with mixed messages. "Block the exits. Attention, enemies inside the base. Nobody gets out alive." Blackface and Elbow managed to grab half of the arsenal. They were running down the side corridor when they heard the first scream. "Stop! PM!" Cara Preta took out his rifle. He looked at Maya and said the sentence that froze everyone's blood. "Are you going to kill or are you going to die? Decide now." Gunshot, silence, footsteps approaching, and the beginning of the war inside the police station itself. When the favela enters the base, it's not just shots that fly. It's the pride of the troops that bleeds. The Special Force Base had always been treated as sacred territory, a place where crime would never dare tread. Until that morning. 03:26. The echo of the first shot shook the central building like a bomb. Ramiro, from BOPE, was the first to shoot. Cara Preta responded in the same second. The burst of shots ate up the corner of the wall as if it were cardboard. "Contact confirmed! Contact confirmed!" a soldier shouted over the radio. Now it was official. The base was under internal attack. In the monitoring room, Sergeant Denise watched the terror unfold in real time. Internal cameras showed 2 hooded men running with rifles and a third man, Private Maya, visibly in panic. "The son of a bitch is helping them," Denise shouted. "Activate Wolf Protocol, block the main gate and the escape galleries." But it was too late. Elbow, from the shed, had already activated a contingency plan. On the radio, he warned, "Activate the jammer. No signal, no radio, no backup. Now, it's you and chaos." A signal jamming device, hidden in a maintenance backpack, began to hum. Communication from base cut. With the radios dead, the confusion spread like wildfire. No one knew who was the enemy and who was an accomplice. The sound of gunshots mixed with the thud of boots, screams and slamming doors. In Dormitory 3, where 23 men from the 22nd Battalion were staying, Lieutenant Rocha was awakened by the shout, "Internal invasion! Put on your uniform and come to war!" In less than 4 minutes, the base became a combat zone, and what shocked everyone the most was that the criminals knew the path of the weapons, they knew the shifts, they knew the blind spots. "Someone is giving these motherfuckers a talk!" Ramiro shouted in the side corridor as they fled with 2 backpacks loaded with heavy weapons. Blackface turned and pointed at Soldier Maya. "You've helped so far. Now prove you're a man. Set them on fire." Maya was paralyzed, hands shaking. The sound of the girl, screaming in the back of his mind. "I can't. This isn't right. So it's you or her. Choose." Suddenly, Ramiro appeared at the end of the corridor with 2 BOPE men. "Drop the fucking gun, Maya." Dead silence. 3 seconds that lasted an eternity. Maya turned around with the gun in her hands, pointed it at Cara Preta, and he shot. Cara Preta fell to the ground with a shot to the chest. Elbow heard the noise in the headset and remained silent. Maya threw the rifle to the side and shouted, "The girl is in the shed, quarry shed. Arrest me, but go save her." Ramiro and BOPE did not hesitate. They gave the order immediately. "Lock down the base, nobody leaves, and take position in this warehouse now. There's a child involved." The radio worked again for 7 seconds, enough time for Ramiro to send the coded message. "Blackbird in captivity." I repeat, "Blackbird in captivity." It was the code used when there were hostages outside the base. The protocol changes. The priority now is to save the girl. On the surveillance screen, Elbow appears for the first time, looking straight at the camera from inside the warehouse, the girl behind him, tied up. He smiles and says, "Do you think you won? I have the button here. Either you let me out, or this warehouse will go up in smoke with her inside." While some exchange shots for territory, others exchange their souls for time. Oro 4:03 in the morning. The Special Forces base was locked. The gates were sealed. BOPE troops were cautiously sweeping every corner. Cara Preta's body was still on the ground, and Private Maya, handcuffed, was shaking like someone who had seen hell itself. But the focus now wasn't on him anymore. It was on the girl. "We have 30 minutes to set up an operation," Ramiro said, "or the girl dies." In the tactics room, the map of the quarry warehouse was spread out on the table. Drone footage, information from the Crime Stoppers hotline, and the cold voice of a man who has seen it all. This warehouse has access through 2 alleys. It has an improvised explosive device, probably homemade but lethal, and if Elbow threatened to blow it up, it will blow up. 03:59. Elbow was still online, a cell phone with a camera positioned on top of a drum. The girl was tied up with electrical tape over her mouth. Next to it, a black suitcase with red wires and a blinking light. "I want an unarmed police car, without GPS, with 2 vests and 2 backpacks full of money. I want the name of the person responsible. And if no one shows up by 5 a.m., I'll blow this damn thing up." Ramiro watched this without blinking. "Is he bluffing?" asked Captain Fausto. "Elbow never bluffs." At 4:10 a.m., 4 unmarked vehicles left the base, 1 with BOPE, another with negotiators, and 2 for support with intelligence and tactical drones. The plan was simple: save time, distract him with the negotiation, break in through the back, save the girl, and disarm the explosive. But nothing was going to go as planned. Inside the BOPE van, the operators prepared themselves in silence. One ran his hand over the skull tattoo on his chest. Another closed his eyes, reciting a prayer. M4 rifles adjusted, radios in ears. Every breath was measured. It's now or never. The guy knows our protocol. He's playing with our morals. We're not going to lose this child, even if we die trying, said Ramiro. 04:26. The train stops 2 streets before the warehouse. Lights out. The favela is silent. Tension hangs. Heavy in the air. "Position the drone. Go up without making any noise," ordered the analyst. Thermal imaging showed a single figure standing. Elbow, pacing in circles with a gun in his hand, talking to himself. "He's altered. He seems drugged. That complicates things," said the sergeant. While Alpha Team positioned itself in the back, Bravo hid on the rooftops. Charlie awaited the negotiator's command. When everything seemed ready, Elbow called the base. "I see you, you sons of bitches. If anyone else comes near me, I'll blow it all up." Out of nowhere, he grabbed the girl by her hair, pointed the gun at her head and shouted, "I want the soldier. I want Maya. He comes here or there will be remains spread on the roof." Panic. Silence. "He wants Maya. The traitor." "And now?" asked the captain. Ramiro looked at the police car. Soldier Maya, handcuffed, asked to go. "I swear, just let me see her alive. Then kill me, but let me see her alive." 0438. Ramiro knocked on the police. "Car door." His face was hard, but his father's heart spoke louder. "Uncuff him. Put on the vest. And if that son of a bitch tries anything, we'll blow him up in the middle of the road." Maya got out of the car, trembling. She looked at the alley, the warehouse, the sky beginning to lighten, and she walked. Each step, a memory of her niece playing with dolls. Each meter, the feeling that this could be her last walk. 0445. Maya enters the warehouse. Elbow smiles. He points the gun at him. "Did you bring the present?" Maya approaches, but behind the pillar, the BOPE phantom operator is already in the blind spot, with his finger on the trigger. "On 3, Ramiro whispers over the radio. 1, 2, in war, time does not run. It bleeds." 04045. The Galpão da Pedreira became the heart of Rio de Janeiro's tension. Inside, a criminal on a rampage, a girl tied to an improvised explosive device, and a soldier betrayed by life, trying to save what was left of his soul. "Stand still," Elbow shouted, pointing the rifle at Maya's face. "I told you to come alone. Do you have a chip? Something hidden?" "I didn't bring anything. I just came to see my niece alive," Maya replies, her voice cracking. "Let me see her, for the love of God." Elbow laughs, a sick, torn laugh. "She's there. Look, just the way you left her. Now I want to know, did you come to die or did you come to lie?" From up above, Phantasma, a BOPE operator, already had a firing line. His face painted, his breathing controlled. 20 meters, rifle supported, elbow on target. But the position was risky. His elbow was inches from the explosive's trigger button. One wrong move, and boom! "I don't have a clear shot. The button is stuck to his chest," Ghost warned on the radio. "He's wearing a kind of vest." Ramiro bit his lips. "Wait for the opening, even if it's just for the blink of an eye." 0451. Elbow begins to lose his mental balance. "Nobody came, right? Do you think life is worth more than money? Everyone here is already dead. They just forgot to go to bed." He holds the button tightly. The girl cries, her face wet, her eyes pleading. Maya takes a step forward. "I'll take responsibility, whatever you want. But let her go. It's not her fault." "What do you think I am? A villain in a soap opera, Maya? You gave me the entire deposit, and now you want to play the hero? You screwed me. You and your gang. Suddenly..." He lightly presses the button. The red light on the explosive starts, flashing faster. "Done! Now it's me, her and the devil!" Elbow shouts. From above, Phantom shouts into the radio. "He's going to activate! He's going to activate!" Ramiro Berra. "Shoot now!" The sound of a gunshot explodes in the alley. The bullet enters Elbow's neck and exits at the base of his skull. He falls backwards, but the button had already been pressed. "Run! Get in!" Ghost shouts. The BOPE team invades from the back with insane speed. Maya jumps on the bomb, trying to disconnect the wires. A technical operator arrives with him. Don't move, let me see." The timer on the display, 0009, 0008, heart pounding in throat, the girl screaming, hands shaking, everything seems unreal. "Cut the green," says the technician. "Now." Maya cuts the wire, breathing, heartbeat. The light goes out. The bomb doesn't explode. 0455. The girl is carried in Maya's arms. He cries like a child. Ghost covers them both with a vest. The operators leave the warehouse as If they had escaped from hell, the troops celebrate quietly, but the atmosphere is still one of war. Inside the base, 280 police officers line up in formation. News of the rescue arrives via radio. Girl rescued, explosive neutralized, intruders shot down, one prisoner. Ramiro takes off his helmet, looks at the sky and says, "Now we're going to go all the way." This was just the first round. That same night, an audio circulates among criminals. Elbow fell. Blackface 2, 0455. The girl is carried in Maya's arms. He cries like a child. Ghost covers them both with a vest. The operators leave the warehouse as if they had escaped from hell. The troops celebrate quietly, but the atmosphere is still one of war. Inside the base, 280 police officers line up in formation. News of the rescue arrives via radio. Girl rescued, explosive neutralized, intruders shot down, one prisoner. The sun began to rise as the last of the debris was collected. Elbow's body was dumped in a corner of the quarry. The weapons depot was secured. The holes in the base's walls were still smoking. The TV didn't show it. The newspapers were silent. But that morning, two men almost changed the history of public safety in the state of Rio. Almost. Maya was arrested. He had no defense. He confessed everything, but before being taken to the police station, he made one last request: to see his niece from afar one more time. She was in a hospital bed, with a thermal blanket and her eyes fixed on the window. She survived. He didn't. BOPE returned to the base they should never have left, silent with tired eyes, but the sweaty uniforms of those who did their duty. The entire team was decorated off camera, and while the city woke up as if nothing had happened, between the lines of public safety a message was passed. If 2 drug dealers could do all this, imagine what 10 can do. This was not just another operation, it was a message, a warning, a call for attention ignored by the system, but engraved on the skin of every man who was there, and who lived that night. He never slept the same way again. This was another night that didn't make the papers, but whoever lived it never forgot it. And now, it's up to you. If this story kept you hooked from beginning to end, leave a like, because this helps to bring this content to more people. Comment below, what would you do in the place of Soldier Maya? And most importantly, do you think this kind of invasion could happen in real life? If you want to see more real, tense and action-packed stories like this one, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel, activate the bell and come on the mission with us.